Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 27, part 1 of 4. Yes, I'm basically splitting out my review for season 27 to 4 parts. Why? It's like almost 90 freaking episodes, so unlike, let's say, with One Piece season 17, where it was like all one story arc, this is multiple different stories, and kind of like with Fairy Tail, when I did review Fairy Tail season 7, kind of the same reason. So this one I'm reviewing, there's just the first 26 episodes. Basically, episodes 857 through 882. I was going to stop at 881 because I figured that would be a good number for 25. But since 881 was actually part 1 of a two-parter, I decided to talk about 882 as well. Now, there are fillers and there are canon episodes. Yes, there are both. These are the ones that are filler. 557 to 560, 865, 868, 871, 875, 877, and 880. Yep, those are the filler episodes. The rest of the episodes that basically I didn't say are in fact the canon episodes. And these episodes are 861, 864, 866, 867, 872, 874, 878, 879, 881, 882. These episodes cover these particular chapters. 948 to 962 and 969 to 974. Yeah, for some reason they skipped over some chapters in here, but they're all part of one season, so it's not like they're like skipping this episode for another season. Here's what happened in these episodes. Excuse me. First we have a two-parter. Yep, a two-parter. Known as the Shifting Mystery in Baka City. Yep, this one, believe it or not, this one basically has like a reference to an Agatha Christie novel, the ABC Murders. Yeah, that plays a part, one of the clues. But yeah, apparently she was not a really big fan of the president of this neighborhood association, who apparently was a wimp. Oh, and he also forced his way into being president due to buying up most of the land in the area. So, okay, yeah, he was, and there was also this nuisance at the beginning. Yeah, as the reason why he killed him, as why he got killed, just so that one other person can get framed for it. Yep. So we have this professor who gets framed for it, and the reason why he gets framed, why the culprit decided to frame him and kill the other two, because he chastised their work, because he criticized their work, calling it terrible. Yep, that is pretty much the reason for this. Yep, and Conan finds out about who the murderer is pretty simply in the course of these two episodes is actually the owner of the bookstore. Well, the cafe that has books. Yes, she is the one who is behind all this. And, well, yeah. It's an okay two-parter. That's simple. It's quite interesting, the chemistry between Conan and this cafe owner. I mean, yes, one of several times Conan is actually hanging out with an actual murderer, but the murderer doesn't harm him at all because they have no motive to kill him just because he finds something. But yeah. Next we have a couple standalone episodes. First is the Dark Mountain Route. This was quite interesting of an episode. Yes, we have these four people who are staying with the detective boys at the Junior Detective League at this particular campsite. Well, stay in this cabin, and they have these four adults. There was actually five people originally, but they one died a year prior, and the one who was a jerk. Yeah, it was completely obvious when you first meet her. She's obviously gonna be the one who gets killed. So she gets killed. Who kills her? The woman. Yep, the woman who's the only woman part of the group. And there's this adorable little moment. I thought this was so adorable. Like Amy gets a nightmare, so she volunteered to sort of sleep with her. Not what people think. They basically just sleep alongside of her. I thought this was so adorable. Yeah. Here's Amy, the adorable 7-year-old, spending the night with a woman who she barely knows, but it's an adorable moment. And one point when she's accused of murder, she tries to defend her, but it turns out, yeah, she really did kill this woman. Why? Because of what happened the year prior, where basically the guy who died was her boyfriend, and apparently he had been forced by her to be on that mountain when he fell off. Yeah, but this actually is a pretty good episode. hmm Next is the Scary Histon's Pitfall. Yep. I'm trying to remember this episode. I'm looking at the description of him like, um, yeah, I barely remember this one, so I'm gonna skip over it. Okay, so now move on to 861 to 862. Just like a 17-year-old crime scene, this introduces the. This particular case is noteworthy for the last known physical appearance of two characters, though these characters do appear in a background shot later on. But yeah, this is the last time we see them. Yeah, this is the last on-screen appearance to date for Adrian Carmel and the beautiful Julie Starling. Two really good characters who prior to this didn't do very much. I mean, Jodie was at least involved in some cases. Carmel did virtually nothing except be a murder suspect twice. Yeah, and it's like, okay, Carmel's appearance in the first part is just to keep an eye on the house where Anita is. Yep, and this brief cameo, that's all you see of him the whole episode. The following episode, we have Jodie Starling shows up in a car. I think it's probably Subaru's car. Just to get information about this particular thing. Of course, they found the whole thing about this coding about rum that's explored throughout some of these episodes, not all of them. But yeah, this is the last time we see these two. And as far as I can tell, aside from Shu himself, there are no other FBI agents who appear after this. I'm like, really? Nobody else physically appears? I mean, Jodie is a fantastic character. Now, there's another character who I'm talking about some of these episodes. She makes her last physical appearance aside from a background shot, and they stop appearing. Like, what? Great characters, and the writer just drops them, at least has nothing for them to do. Yep. Now this one is simply kind of exploring what happened to, like what happened to Shoki player who basically Masami's brother is named after her. She's actually, I don't think she's in this episode. No, I don't think she is. No. But yeah, this basically involves the death of an old man. Yeah, it's a pretty good episode, but it's a good character piece. This one, the case itself is just forgettable at best. Then we have the Spirit Detective Murder, which picks up right. I'm glad the fact they actually put this one right after this one, because the whole thing is said with rum and basically explore that here. Yeah, Spirit Detective is murdered and he gets killed by the producer because apparently because the fact that he bragged about finding his dead sister. Yeah, actually no, Massive Spirit in that episode. She appears in this one. This was by far her first appearance in like it had been when she showed up in the first fight was the first time in 9 episodes. How she shows this episode is quite odd. It's like okay, we have the spirit to get murdered, we possibly like the murder go up next door, and knocks on the door, and who answers the door? It's Masami. Yep, and Conan can see her underwear because she has her zipper down, and looks like she just woke up and was probably sleeping late. Yeah. And apparently that is explained also in this two-part that she got the room cheap due to the fact there was construction going on in the floor below. And also, Mary kind of sees Conan the first time. That was later explained. It's not the first time she's seen this kid. You see her basically like using like she's act like a like a rock climber. She basically repels like going beneath this balcony, and Conan basically kind of takes a picture. Of course, Mary kind of doesn't see Conan particularly well per se, but he also apparently drops his bow tie. Yep, he drops freaking bow tie, and Mary somehow finds it. Yeah, Mary finds and somehow gives it back to him in a way where he just leaves it after using it after solving who the murderer is. Yeah, and it's the first time Conan did not use the bow tie to do the Sleeping Monroe, Sleeping Moore trick, which I thought was quite interesting. Yeah, and of course, like Mary's like, Yeah, finally got a chance to meet him in the way, and he may not be the same boy from 10 years ago, but she does not technically know that, yeah, the reason why he's like this because of a freaking drug. Probably the same thing what you got, Mary. Yeah, and also in this one we find out that Mary, this is the episode we find out in part 2, find out that Mary is Masumi's mother. Now, Mary makes a goof when it comes to basically the sleep more trick. Now, Richard Moore has never referred to her by her first name. He always refers to her as the tomboy. He's never referred to her by name, and I think even Conan can figure that out. Yes. Now, Conan generally tries to keep up. Now, he does basically have, like, sound like a lot of people, but he at least tries to have them act like the appropriate people and call people what they're appropriately called. Mm-hmm. Yep. But fantastic two-parter, and more development of the course series. But Mary herself does appear in a later episode in a flashback. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah, and apparently she's very ill. She's coughing like little coughs, like yes. But it's not bad per se. As for how the heck she got this way, there's a fan theory that she apparently is a victim of the same drug Jimmy used to turn into Conan, but it's never confirmed by the writer of the series. I keep hoping that maybe you'll have the character show up again, but here's the thing. After the last 2 episodes I'm talking about in this video, she doesn't appear in the series again until like the third to last canon episode of the series is aired so far, which was 928. That's her last physical appearance in the series. Well, basically shown in the anime. She does appear in a flashback panel in the manga. Mm-hmm. And after this two-parter, then we have like a standalone filler episode where murder happens at this author's house, and the person is killed with her scarf and she's strangled by an old man with a broken arm. Because apparently he sold her a book that was actually a fake, and he basically is making excuses to get back, so apparently she's a very demanding woman. Oh yeah, and the nephew himself presumably gets her house afterwards. It's never followed up upon, and these characters never seen anything. But it's an okay single episode. Then we have the Traitor Stage. This one, okay. We have Vermouth and Bourbon reappear, but here's the thing about this two-parter. This is the last time you see Vermouth, with the exception of a background shot. Yeah, I'm like, okay, another really good character. I love Vermouth. She's been fantastic this whole series, and this two-parter is the last time you'll see her for I mean, I don't think the writer's done with her. No. It's just that he doesn't have any plans for her. I mean, it's been a while since her last appearance. I mean, since basically this adaptation of, like, 57, it's been like almost 100 chapters since her last physical appearance in the series. Yeah, I think she has appeared for a couple cameos, but that's it. With this one, you have a musician who apparently is killed, and he commits, like, they think it's murder disguised as suicide, but it turns out, yep, he did kill himself. And I love Vermouth basically assessment of the three people investigating this murder. You have Bourbon, Conan, and Subaru. You have Bourbon, one of the greatest men in the organization. You have Shichi Kudo, victim of a high school detective who turned into a child via drug, which she does know. She's probably like the only person, the only canon member of the Black Organization who knows that Conan is Shichi. She's the only one who knows. And here's the thing. Conan does not consider her a threat at all. He considers Jin more of a threat than she is. I don't think it's due to the fact that she's a woman. No, I think because, one, because of the deal they have, and two, because she is his mom's best friend. Yeah. Though at one point she's disguised as a waitress who's a friend of Rachel's from the Parrot Cafe shop. And I don't know why she decided to disguise herself as her. It's particularly very bizarre. This is kind of follow up with the next kind of episode. It's like, and she refers to Rachel as Angel. Yeah. Now, Rachel's like probably like, only one person has called me that, and that's, well, it's like, and of course she confronts her like, you're like she figures out that this is not the waitress that she knows. She's like, you're that lady from before. I've seen you before. But it's like, don't delve into stuff. Like, don't worry about it. And that's the last you see of her. Because she doesn't reappear after this at all. Yeah. But really good two-part. And of course, and this is also the first time, and probably the only time, we shan't see Vermouth see Subaru. Of course, she does not know this is actually Shu, the man who's supposed to be dead, according to the Black Organization. Excuse me. Yep. And after this two-part, we have the Whistling Bookstore. This one was quite interesting. Yeah, where... Let's see. Is this... Yeah. And this is adorable Conan and Nita moment, Amy moment, where Conan basically prevents Amy from falling over while carrying a box of books. And this apparently is not listed on Conan Detective World. I mean, this is a great moment. I mean, yeah. And of course, she kind of blushes at it. But yeah, it's the only other time Conan Wade touches her in a way where it's appropriate, basically on her shoulders. Yeah. And here's the thing. It's probably the only time Conan does something like this, and you don't have Mitch and George getting jealous. Because he's to a massive crush on her. Yes. So they help a bookstore owner transfer these books basically to his bookstore. They unload it, and then of course he's trying to sell books. Eventually, the book thing fall, and it turns out his son did this. I mean, he wasn't trying to kill him. No, he just tried to basically get him to close the store. So they kind of, in a way, after his son gets out of jail, he gets out of the hospital, they kind of like merge both shops into one, basically cafe and bookshop, which, that's fine. That's actually a really good idea to do. And they even have the whistling train. I love that particular train. It kind of reminds me of the way the appearance of this thing is. I don't think it looks like the train from the Harry Potter movies. No, I think it reminds me, appearance-wise, it kind of looks like the train that was used in Back to the Future Part 3. That's what it looks like to me. But yeah, a really good standalone episode. Then we have Conan disappears over a cliff. Yep. And yes, in this episode, Conan disappears over a cliff and worries Mitch, George, Amy, and even Rachel. Yeah, Anita has no problem with this at all. I mean, she already knew Conan was fine. But them, I thought this was so funny. Yeah, of course, they solve the whole thing of, well, they think this guy is actually, involved with robbery and murder. Nope. He basically was just trying to get greedy. Oh, yeah, and the picture, turns out it was a fake. Yeah, and then, of course, after the whole thing is over, it says, okay, he'll forgive him, and, of course, yeah. But what about these three? And his last words to Conan before the episode ends is, play nice. And then you have the three Rachel chased. You have Mitch, George, and Amy, along with Rachel, chase down Conan in the end of the episode. I thought this was so funny. But it's a really good two-parter. Yep, and then we have the Nickapunk 450 case, which oddly enough brings back a detective from an episode back in episode 360 something. Like, wow, it is something that Rebecca the Detective has not been seen since it's been a long time. And this one features a spoof of the Super Sentai, has a parody of the Super Sentai. I mean, his last appearance in the series was episode 349. Let's see, what season was that? This was in episode... back in season 12. Yes, a two-parter. Yep. And he appears for this case. Yeah, apparently these local heroes, who basically are a parody of the Super Sentai, they're framed for robberies by their manager and people wearing the costumes basically from a loan shark. Of course, Mitch is actually taken hostage. I think it's probably the only time I can think of he's taken hostage. Conan's taken hostage several times in the series. Anita, I don't think that's happened, and George has never been taken hostage. But it's an okay standalone episode. Then we have a three-parter, basically investigate. This is like Conan and Hedgie, new legend. You have Squealing, Clue, and Resolution. Yep. Of course, this one also introduced a character who was introduced in previously in the movie, the final episode, Majimi Okita. Yeah, she returns later on in 889. Yeah, it takes a little while for her to show up again. hmm Yeah, this one basically like has them like investigating this creature called the New. Also, of course, this is first time that this particular, I don't remember the inspector's name. It's been a while since the last appearance in the series. Like my gosh, it had been like some time since he last appeared. The one whose brother is more strict than he is. Oh, and also Musa basically is questioning about the whole connection with that music sort of thing. Oh, it's Sogo. Yeah, he shows up again. And I thought this was so funny. Like they're hoping, they were really hoping that idiot Yamazoka would basically not show up, and he didn't show up in the episode. He showed up for a background check, but they had the other idiot detective, one who's a fan of Richard Moore. Yeah, at one point, because they think the New is like a big huge monster, he apparently calls the Japanese self-defense force. I'm like, what? And they show up at the end of the three-parter, and then Harley's basically about to confess his feelings to a childhood friend, and then like all of a sudden, let's self-defense force just shows up completely out of nowhere. It shows that the whole New thing was actually fake. It was complete fake. It was basically a dog wearing a bear costume. Yeah, and the whole thing of it looking so big was just an illusion. Yep. And the person behind all this was actually um the one of the guests of this hotel. But yeah, one of the few times Harley tries to express his feelings for Katja, and it doesn't go anywhere. Yep. But it's a fun little three-parter. But the self-defense force, seriously, the self-defense force. Yes, the Japanese army shows up. Like, okay, we have a monster, so call them the self-defense force. Isn't it a trope in Japanese fiction? Like, if there's a monster shows up, we have to call the Japanese self-defense force? Yeah, quite hilarious. And then we have the mysterious prolific Buddha. Yeah, this one basically involves death of a high priest who also arranged for his daughter to marry a student, despite the fact he was already engaged. Oh yeah, and well, he gets killed by his wife because apparently he treated his wife and children as slaves. Yeah, as for and there's no proper resolution to this one. It's like, is the marriage called off between the student and the daughter? Like nothing. I mean, for a standalone episode, there's no proper resolution. I mean, aside from like the case is solved, there's no proper resolution to this one at all. It's quite weird. hmm Then we have the mechanical witness. Yep. This one, I don't really remember this one. It's been a while since I've watched it. I think it's been like yesterday I watched it. I don't really remember what it was. Oh yeah, this one. This one basically involves like a mouse. Oh yeah, one of the many times that McGuire and Takagi appears in a filler episode. hmm Yeah, involving a one guy who gets killed in a storeroom with gas, and it turns out the guy with the who looks like a jock. Yeah, because he was leaking. I think he was leaking info. I think it was certain that was somebody else. Basically, death is kind of an accident. Yep. Then we have the pair of crossfates. Oh, this one. I actually just watched this one not too long ago. This one, oh boy. Yeah. A guy who robbed an old lady's house, runs another guy, while also running down George, and also gets a bump, and he switches clothes to the other guy, frames him for what he did, And turns out the guy is a robber anyways, and well, that's it. Oh yeah, and the guy who apparently both of them work for, apparently he's arrested by the end of the episode. Yeah, another one of those ones that basically go nowhere. Then we had the blind spot in the dressing, which sets up the Wizard of Ripples two-parter. Yep. So this one involves like Conan going shopping with Rachel, Sonoko, and Sarah, and they all try on swimsuits. And Conan, when he sees Rachel's first swimsuit, he blushes. He blushes like every time she comes out with a swimsuit, which is something. I mean, I'm kind of glad the fact he doesn't do that for for Sonoko, because, well, he's not in love with her. Though I think her boyfriend might blush at seeing her in a swimsuit. Now, it was one swimsuit that Sarah puts on. Yeah, basically that was a way for Sarah to figure out, like, get Conan to remember her. Yep. Oh yeah, and there's a murder happens on like 2 floors below where they were. Conan going to a toy store just happened to pass by this particular store. We heard like an argument over one person passing due to basically dog odor turned up with chloroform, and like this other woman who had a dog. Yeah, she gets killed. It's killed by an employee. Why? Because she got tired of treating it as a pet. Yep. Basically, it's kind of like a B plot. This one. And then we have like one standalone episode between this one and the Wizard of Ripples. Yeah, Detective Boys and the Ghost Mansion. Yeah, they are figure out though pretty much for all this. It's like there's Ghosts Management house on the 2 weeks prior. Yeah, it turns out a lot of this stuff is basically just lights in the lighthouse. There was a recorded voice made by the owner's nephew. Oh yeah, and apparently the owner's nephew tried to kill him because he wanted his money to pay off debt. Yep. That's really it for that one. And then, of course, we have Wizard Ripples, which picks up right where Blind Spot Dressing Room basically leaves off. We have like a flashback, jump back in time 10 years, where you see Shichi, Ren, Masumi, Shu, the shogi player, Mary, Shichi's mom, and dad, all 10 years prior. And man, Shichi's mom, like, oh my gosh, she looks so good. Like, she's smoking hot. And Mary, wow, she looks fantastic for her age. Yeah. And apparently, her and her oldest son basically got into sort of a violent fight. They both came sort of like marks on their eyes. And Conan's to figure out, Jimmy's to figure out, Shichi figure out that he has a mark on his wrist because he's an accordion player. Yeah. And thanks to the combination of his help and Shichi's, they figure out that this, what happened, they meet, and it's like, would you tell people with my little sister, please? Like, okay. And then, not only after he asks that, a car flies off a cliff into the ocean right where these people are. And Shu goes swimming in the water, of course, knocks off his glasses and his hat, though Shichi's going to pick up his hat, but apparently couldn't find his sunglasses for some of these sweet shades he's wearing. Yep. And of course, when Masumi first meets her brother, she's like, I really want to see him smile. She tries, scaring, saying boo, or putting, French fries in her mouth. I thought that was so funny. I thought it was so funny. And that's when they meet Shichi's beautiful mom. Of course, Mary's hot as well. Yep. And of course we see Rand, Rand look around, and throughout most of the first half of this first parter, she's basically having a tube around her waist, and then later on she gets rid of it, and she basically is hiding behind Shichi's mom because she's so embarrassed. I think the reason why she does is because she's kind of like an aunt to her because her mom is this woman's best friend. Yep. And I think Eri knows that Yuriko would never put Ran in harm's way because they're best friends. But yeah, she sees a dead body, but it's not abruptly. I mean, just a guy brought to the beach. It's not like a shocking discovery. Yeah, and of course, at the end of the two-parter, Matsumi calls Shichi a magician. Of course, she doesn't remember the reason. Of course, apparently that was the trigger. Apparently, it's implied that she knows that Conan is Shichi Kudo. Never develop on, but I should point out though in the current arc in the manga, it is confirmed that she does know. Yep, but it is hinted at. This is where the hints start that she knows that Conan is Chi. But yeah, great two-parter. Yeah, love the flashback, and I should point out that after this episode, like Matsumi herself does not return to episode 919. I looked up my other time I calculated like how many episodes between her appearances. 37 episodes between these. Like there's an episode. It's like 36 episodes. Yep. Excuse me. As for Shu himself, he does return for the next canon episode. Yeah, he actually returns for episode 887. Yeah, which is the second canon case that comes right after the next two full episodes. Yep. So yeah, great episodes. Okay start to the season, but yeah, a lot of them really get. Heck, even the filler episodes are actually pretty good as well. I love the development that this whole season basically so far of Matsumi and Conan. I mean, it's also been implied that Matsumi has got a thing for Sichi, but it's never developed with. Though she has more interrelation between Sichi and Ran. Yep. So yeah, that's it for particular review. This is going to be the first of 7 videos I'm putting up today. Now, I'm also putting up 2 comic corners, 1 movie review, and 4 other anime reviews. Next thing I'm going to do is review the newest episode of Super. I was going to do it yesterday, but I really wanted to continue with Case Closed. Because I really wanted to get back to Case Closed and basically worry about doing it today. Though it's going to be a lot of videos doing today, but it's a day off, so why not, okay? But to use the next video, which will be a Comic Corner. Bye.